Don't make up their mind say the boy must die.
Turned the key on the door, and this guy followed me to the door and shot me on the leg.
The guy holding on to me said he had a gun, but I didn't believe.
I had to give them 10,000 pounds so that they should not rape me. There was a man in my room, a very big man. I don't know what he was doing there.
It sounded really remote, so I was thinking that a girl was getting raped in the streets.
I don't want to think that the Cameroon is a very dangerous country, but
yes, the hopeless not die. That's also what happened. Everywhere I find girls, I get like 27. I see scammers them for yeah. No wonder if you see shit, you know go still fly. Even that you are say I did lie. Guess what for yeah, like 52x, I get the 10x.
I'm Kate, and I'm from the United States.
My name is Laura. I'm 22 years old, and I'm from Germany. And I'm living together with Kate and Aya, and currently doing a 2-month internship in Boya.
my name is Aya. I'm an intern from Japan.
Tuesday, August 4th. I was trying to stay up late so that I could call my boyfriend at home. And there's like a 5-hour time difference. So he would just be getting out of work if I stayed up till midnight. So I stayed up till midnight. Around 11, I had done my laundry, I had rinsed it out and everything, and around 11, I decided to just hang it up. And so it was really, really dark that night. It's kind of, there was no moon, like no light from the moon or anything, and it was drizzling. And I just figured no one would be out that late. And I know that like locals have said don't go out, don't even go out like on your porch, don't turn off your water too late, just don't go outside. So I decided I would wait, I would do my laundry and just wait until I was pretty sure no one would be around. So I went out, left the door open. We had no power, so the voltage had kind of left us with sort of a flickering light. And while I was out hanging up the laundry, the light came back on. So our living room light was back on and the door was ajar. And then I kind of realized that was bad. If anybody was around, that would just look really bad. But I had a couple more clothes to go, like a couple more pieces of clothes. So people were three guys walked down Biaka Street. That's where I live. And 3 guys slowly walked down Biaka Street. They were following a car. And I remember thinking it was really weird. Like I got a really weird feeling in my gut, kind of. I just kind of knew that it was weird that they didn't look over at me. I was the only one awake, obviously, and the only light on. And they just made a point of not looking at me. And so I got a weird feeling, and I decided just to hurry up with the clothes. I had like 2 more to go. I tied them up really quick. And as I was tying up like the second to last one, they came at me. Like they just started, they sort of came out of nowhere, and they were walking in a straight line, and they walked slowly up the steps of the porch. And I immediately knew I was getting robbed, so I was like, excuse me, and I like tried to stop them, but they just sort of like moved my hand aside. 2 guys in the front had machetes, and then the 3rd guy was there just to take care of me. And he just kind of like pinned me up behind the door and like held me against the wall and just kind of like tried to cover my mouth, but he actually didn't, so I was able to scream. And I screamed really loud. I've never heard myself scream that loud.
I woke up from a scream, and at first I was really fast asleep, so I didn't really realize I heard a second scream. And what I was thinking, it sounded really remote, so I was thinking that a girl was getting raped in the streets.
I heard a scream, and I suddenly noticed that it's Kate's scream, and I felt suddenly really terrified that something is happening in the house.
I decided to get up. Next to me, Aya was sleeping, and I believed that the 3 of us were sleeping.
The guys inside with machetes, they were definitely scared, like more than I thought they would be, because my screaming woke up the whole neighborhood. So they just grabbed whatever they could see, which was my phone, my laptop, Laura's money. I had this silver case that has a mirror and my tweezers in it. Just kind of stupid, but they thought there was money. Anyway, they just grabbed what they could, and then the guy who had grabbed my computer actually ended up falling, like he slipped or something, and he fell into the door, broke the door a little bit, and then they all just took off. They actually didn't run, they just walked away. But the last guy to leave our house saw my flashlight on the porch and just snatched it. And that was bad.
So I got up and I wanted to open the door, and that moment Aya jumped to the door, and apparently we tried to open the door in different ways. So one of us was pushing and the other was pulling. And that was probably the worst moment for that in that night, because I believed that the 3 girls of us were inside the room in the dark and that somebody was trying to get in from the outside. So the first moment we tried to both push the door, and then we heard Kate yelling from outside. So of course we opened the door and we came running outside.
I was really terrified to open the door. So, and also someone is pushing the door. So I really terrified. Maybe I was in a panic, and I don't know what happened, but somehow we got out of the door, and then Kate was screaming outside, so we rushed to the door, and I don't know, I was so in a panic, but Laura said that later I was slept on the floor.
What we saw was Kate with her nose slightly bleeding because the guy had been holding her. And she was in panic, and she said that 3 men with machetes had just been coming in and took her computer. We only noticed the money and the phone later.
It was pretty scary. Like, the guy holding on to me said he had a gun, but I didn't believe him, so I just kept yelling. And then they actually frisked my pockets too, and I had like 400 francs that they took. But overall, like, it could have been a lot worse than it was, and I guess I'm just lucky that it wasn't so bad.
And then we noticed that our neighbor is coming down, and then we hurried to them, and a lot of people. One of our neighbor, her name is Loretta. She said she saw 3 men running to the Biaka street.
When we were standing outside, we were telling our story, and about 15 minutes later, a Cameroonian came, panicking and yelling that he had just been robbed by 3 men who came his way. So actually the 3 men that robbed us had met him on their way out of the quarter, and they had taken his phone and his money. So it wasn't actually just targeting tourists or anything. It's crime that can happen to anybody.
We feel really terrified after that, and up until now, I don't like to be alone at home. Actually, even in the daytime. So yeah, sometimes it flashbacks.
It's good to share these stories because it is really hard, especially for somebody from the States or from Europe or something, to come and people warn you, like, locals really do care about your safety and everything. Like, everybody really cares about keeping you safe. And you know that, like, you know that they're not lying when they say don't go out too late, but it's just really hard to adapt to that. Like, you really can trust that police will do something at home, and people are too afraid to commit these crimes. There's a very strong punishment and a really good way of finding thieves. And here, I really think that enough people just live by the rules that you would just stay inside. Like, you don't go out after dark. Good people don't go out after dark. The ones who are out much later than like 9 or maybe even 10, the ones who are out much later than that, they're probably not up to anything good. So it's really hard to believe that until something bad happens.
It was a scary moment. It leaves you with a weird feeling if you feel somebody's intruding your own space.
I don't want to think that the Cameroon is a very dangerous country, but there's some rule that we have to be really careful of. So it was kind of a lesson for us.
Maybe this will help other people. Maybe hearing this will help other people. Just listen the first time. Like, don't test it. When people tell you to stay in, just stay in.